The Global Syrup Maple Strategic Reserve is a huge stockpile of maple syrup run by a Canadian government-sanctioned cartel. They have 3 large warehouses in various rural areas in Quebec, and altogether they can hold up to 133 million pounds, 216,000 barrels, or 53 Olympic-sized swimming pools of maple syrup. It's a really big business in Quebec. According to the cartel's website, which is fun to say, last year they tapped their trees for 124 million pounds of maple syrup. And they produce 72% of the world's sticky, sugary maple tree juice. 1 barrel of that sticky brown money sauce can sell for over $1,200, which is like 10 times or more the price of crude oil. So the Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers keep buttloads of the stuff in surplus. That way they can maintain a supply when they have a bad year and all their trees get tapped out. And that brings us to the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist. Over the course of several months between 2011 and 2012, over 3,000 tons or 18.7 million Canadian dollars worth of liquid sugar was lifted from one of those warehouses. Adjusted for inflation until just recently, it was the largest heist in Canadian history. But about 20 million Canadian dollars worth of gold and other expensive shit was taken from a container in the Toronto Pearson International Airport heist in April 2023. But let's get back to our brown gold. Turns out the warehouses were only being inspected like once a year. Initially, the group of thieves would truck out the white barrels to what's called a sugar shack. That's where maple syrup is collected and boiled down, and they would swap out the maple syrup for water and return it to the warehouse. But after a while though, they just tapped the barrels in the warehouse and didn't bother refilling them. So in July 2012, one of the inspectors showed up and found out because he was climbing on a barrel and one of them tipped over. When they're full of brown viscous goo, they weigh like 600 pounds, so it was pretty weird that it just fell over, and that led to them discovering the extent of the heist. There weren't no video cameras in the entire place, so there wasn't no immediate evidence about who done it. But by the end of December 2012, police had investigated and arrested 17 people on charges related to the heist. And a man named Richard Valieres was identified as the ringleader of the operation. And in 2017, he was sentenced to 8 years in prison and ordered to pay 9.4 million Canadian, and it would be extended to 14 years if he didn't pay the fine. And of the some 2,700 tons of stolen syrup, only about 450 tons were ever recovered.